Hey guys, I'm Michael Dyck. I work at a Bible school called Cape and Ray out in New Zealand. And so I was just contacted and asked to just share a video and just to let you guys know how I've been doing, I guess, through this pandemic. Something that isn't unique to me. It's a very real thing for everyone in the world. And so, yeah, for those of you guys who don't know, I'm back in Manitoba, and I have been back here for the last week and a half. And so, kind of what happened in my world out in New Zealand with this pandemic was we were all on mission trips around the North Island of New Zealand. So we had three different trips going on at the time. And we decided to end them a day early, and so we got back on Saturday where our director let us as a staff know at 5 p.m. that day that our school was going to have to be canceled because of the laws that New Zealand was putting into place, because currently the country of New Zealand is actually in complete lockdown. And so a couple minutes after that, he let the students know, and it was just this time that was like pretty sad. But from 5 p.m. on Saturday, I found out that we wouldn't be continuing school anymore until this thing all clears up. And so I had the choice to either stay in New Zealand and be in lockdown in New Zealand, or fly home back to Canada for the time being until this pandemic is over, and then fly back to New Zealand. And so I decided to make that call that day that I would come back to Canada. And within like 24 hours, had flights booked and was at the airport in Auckland, ready to fly out that evening. And so that was a turnaround for, a majority of the school. I think we had over 20 people from the school on our flight to Vancouver. And then once I got to Vancouver, I booked a flight back home to Winnipeg, and then drove to Winkler. And yeah, I guess it was really a hard time because the students came in February, and we just all kind of were starting to get really close. And it's just cool to see what the Lord was doing, and to have to end that early was so unexpected and difficult. But it's been so cool to see how the Lord still brings joy, and the Lord still brings life, even though our circumstances change. And so one thing that we've been doing since we've been back home is me and 6 other guys have been doing a Bible study every evening. And so we'll read through 2 chapters. Right now we're going through John, and so we'll read through 2 chapters of John. And then in the evening, we'll come together and discuss it and just take time to pray for one another. And it's been so cool to be able to connect in that way, because we've all experienced the same thing in the same way. And so being able to talk about maybe that loss of leaving Bible school early has just been a cool way to connect with one another in this situation that isn't unique to us, but once again that everyone else is going through. And so one thing I've also been encouraged and just kind of realized in this time, which is so true, is that so often in life we try and find, at least I do, I try and find my fulfillment in different things that aren't Christ, and everything is stripped away. And so I guess a question that I just asked myself, and I asked you guys, if you aren't being fulfilled right now, then we're probably not actually fulfilling ourselves with Jesus. And we're fulfilling ourselves with other things in this world that are just giving us this fake joy and this fake fulfillment. And so what I've found has been so cool is when everything's been stripped away in these last couple weeks, and living in my parents' basement because I'm in quarantine, because I haven't been home quite yet for 2 weeks, is that, man, the Lord still provides joy. The Lord still provides peace. And the reality is, it's a real peace and a real joy, and my fulfillment shouldn't be any different right now than what it was 3 weeks ago, because the Lord is still the same in the middle of this pandemic. The Lord hasn't changed. The only thing that has changed is the circumstances around us. And so I don't discredit people who are having a really hard time at all, because I know this is a trying time. But I encourage you guys to get into the Word, to look to the Lord, because He will fulfill you. And yeah, that's just encouraging. And so I think just a common verse, and I'll just leave it with that, is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He'll make your paths straight." And so I encourage you guys not to lean on maybe what's just in front of you, but look to the Lord in all your ways, and he will lead you in a way that you need to go. So, yeah, thanks.